Yo, what's up, guys? It's Monday night. It's live. Let's do this. And we're 10 seconds towards 2 hours. Let's see. We got some guys early. SP123. He's been here for a long time with that question. What's up, Brad? Andrew? DPZ415. Will? What's going on, guys? Bravos. I see you, Bravos. Always here. Andrew said he's playing NBA 2K. Man, are you winning? Are you simulating the play-in games that we got going on tonight? Wizards, Celtics, Pacers, and Hornets, right? Those games are tonight, if I'm correct. And what do you guys think? Who are you guys pulling for in those games? Or who you guys think's going to win? Who do you want to win? Here's the funny thing. I'm a Celtics fan, and I want the Wizards to win. So that's kind of weird, but I don't think the Celtics have a lot of upside if they do win, and I'm hoping Roy Hachimura can get into the playoffs and have himself a good showing. What's up, Miami Mike? Business as usual. Merle World, what's up? Merlin in the house with the logo, the Wizard logo over there. Matthew, Bradley, I Love Podcasts is here. What's going on, man? What's up? Prodigy Card Collector. Hook you up with some stickers at the Dallas Card Show. Yeah, man, look me up. I'll be there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So if you find me, I'll give you one of these, or I'll give you a couple maybe. I'll just have them on me. I'm sure I'm not going to run out. But yeah, I'll be around. Look for Brad or Boris or Dustin. I might be near them somewhere. But yeah, speaking of Dallas, I don't have my green screen up. I'm kind of like rushed. I'm in the house right now. I leave in a couple days. I just got done putting some of my cards into my travel case here with my slab so I can shut it. I've got a sticker here on my comic box. And, the games are tomorrow, Wednesday. Oh, yeah, the games are Tuesday. I keep thinking today is – thanks for that, Thanks for that, Eric. I keep thinking that today is Tuesday. I knew that they were on Tuesday. I just think today is Tuesday. Just getting my days confused, man. Stuff's running together. That's what happens when you get old, when the hobby's driving you crazy. Anyway, like the thumbnail says, guys, what's hurting the hobby right now and what can possibly help the hobby? Maybe not the whole hobby in general, but especially modern basketball, which is the most popular. What do you guys think's hurting it? Let me see what you guys think, and then I'll elaborate on some of your comments, give you some of my thoughts. You know, what's possibly hurting the hobby and what can help it? And I'm going to talk why I think football is still holding strong. You know, I see the dip in basketball, and football is still holding strong, if not going up in some cases. And I think it has a lot more to do with just the fact that people are trying to buy in early. I think there's other things, which I'll elaborate on a thought. I was going to put it into a video, but I don't know if it warrants an entire video. Maybe a short video. Bravo says, what do I have in these boxes? This big box is graded comic books. They're all graded. This box here is a box. Let me take these off the top. This is a box of slabs that I'm taking with me to Dallas. These shuts. Got the sticker on it. I was just packing this out, actually, out of 3 boxes of these. Next to it that you can't see off camera, I have 3 boxes of these that are all filled with slabs as well. However, I was taking certain slabs out of these boxes, certain things that I was picking to take to Dallas with me. So, yeah, just lots of graded cards around. The 3 that were sitting on the top is a SGC 10 Kobe in the old SGC slab, PSA 10 Anthony Davis Prism, and an HGA 9.5 Zion Select Courtside. So that was just 3 cards that I threw in there at the end. I haven't packed them in yet. So let's see here. Yanks fan says Target is hurting it. Well, yeah, I think retail in general has a little bit to do with it. Target or retail. whether it's being hard to get or whether it's been taken off the shelves. Bravos is talking about SGC and other grading companies can help it. The value eventually being the same for close to PSA. That's another thing that I do think is hurting it is grading, and I think that in two ways. I think it's hurting it due to the fact that people can't get as much stuff graded. However, I also think it's hurting it to an extent because of the huge influx of graded cards being pumped into the market. So it's kind of a double. You want to have more graded cards. It increases the sale of raw cards. You know, people buy raw to get graded. It keeps the flippers in the game. But it also, in hindsight, you know, floods the market on certain cards. So grading, if you could get value across multiple different grading platforms, I think it would help. A lot of people are just discouraged at the moment, I think. They're discouraged because PSA's doors are shut. They don't want to send to SGC. They can't get into HGA. So a lot of people are just discouraged and just tired of it and fed up to an extent to where I think it's just got some people saying, you know, the hell with it. I'm just going to not do anything right now. But that's market as a whole. One big thing I want to talk about, the modern NBA market. I'll get to it after I touch on a couple more comments. Randy said he's got some bad weather. Happy Monday, Billy. What's up? What's up, David? Jeff's cards. What's up? Like he says, oversaturation of cards is hurting basketball. Yeah, oversaturation. Yeah, even with football, the new Select product, in my opinion, looks good, but I think it's garbage. It's massively overprinted when you can pull so many different versions of rookies and stuff. It's really watered down. Good looking product, but I think the print runs are so high, the product's watered down. I love podcasts. Says, what am I looking to pick up at the show? Vintage stuff. I'm going to look for some vintage because I don't own a Mickey Mantle card. I don't own a Jackie Robinson card. I'd like to get a Jackie Robinson card, and I really don't care what it is as long as it's a vintage card in a grade like a 3 or a 4. I just want to have one, you know, and it's not something I'm necessarily buying as an investment. A PC card that I'm looking for, there's one on eBay right now, so I might look to make an offer on the one on eBay. However, I want to try to find one at the show so I can negotiate in person. And this is a 98 Top Stadium Club. This is kind of a grail card for me. 98 Top Stadium Club football, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, co-signers. But I want it graded in a 9.5 with a 10 auto. That card actually sits on eBay right now. So I just saw it 2 nights ago. It's on my watch list. So I'll see what happens in Dallas if I can find that card. Trigger Finger, what's going on, man? I saw the little thing you made for the hangover for Dallas. The hobby fatigue, yeah, it's a little bit of hobby fatigue. People just fed up with greediness, fed up with it's just overkill of everything, even content creation. And I'm guilty of that because I'm a content creator. I don't put out a lot of content, but I mean, you know, sometimes the content creators are good because they give you guys entertainment. You don't necessarily go to the content creators to actually get their opinions on what to buy and things like that. At least you never really should. It should always just be taken away. Entertainment is what you should take out of content creation. But, you know, just look at the number of content creators popping up on YouTube. And that's a good thing. I mean, it's great. I don't discourage that. But that just goes to show you how much oversaturation of everything there is in the market. You know, and, you know, it's going to be fun in Dallas, meeting a lot of these guys, looking for cards. I do think good card shows and hype around card shows can help the hobby because you see these vlogs and stuff that's going on in the card shows. Mainly what you're seeing is really high-end stuff being traded. But a lot of times, whatever is hot coming out of a card show, like last time it was Kevin Durant. So last time Kevin Durant was really hot coming out of the Dallas card show, and it caused him to get hot across the board, like all of his cards, because his top end cards got hot. Everything got hot. So sometimes big card shows and things that go on at the card shows can also help drive the market. draw attention and popularity to things. But Carson Wentz is killing the market here. Yeah. Jay Thorne says people got to pay rent and no more extra government money. Yeah, I have a list here because I there's multiple things. It's not just one thing that's hurting the market. Like I said, I got grading companies, whether it's not being able to get your cards graded or some people who are just getting everything graded and you're having overgrading. The problems with retail. It's summertime. People are going to spend their money on other things in some cases. The COVID money isn't coming in. And you have other collectible markets. What drove people to other collectible markets such as comic books and you have NFTs and, what have you, was the fact that cards kind of got really too pricey for a lot of people, including myself. And I looked into other things that I really liked, like action figures and comic books. And I found an outlet there and a place to better utilize my money for my value, for the bang for the buck, for lack of a better phrase or cliche. Because cards, or nice cards at least, got so expensive that you're like, well, what else can I buy? If the only thing I can afford is kind of cards that nobody really wants. Let me see here. Matt's asking about Batman cards. Let's see. You have a sealed box of 89 Topps Batman cards. Thinking about opening it and grading a few. I'm going to tell you, I had the 1990 Marvel cards. They're really tough grades. So 89 Topps, the value is going to be in getting them graded. You're just going to hope that those cards come out of the packs looking good, looking nice and crispy. So that's a little bit tough. So, Caesar's got a question. How do I see the Kobe card market in 5 years? I wish I could answer this question accurately. If I tell you anything, it's just pure speculation because I don't know the market period. I mean, if there's no market period, well, there will always be somewhat of a market. But, individual players is going to hinge around the market as a whole. Kobe will be one of those guys that always holds value. However, he's going to have ebbs and flows with the market as a whole. And, if the market is up, then Kobe's going to be up and he's going to be more valuable than the other players. And if it's down, he's going to be slightly down, but he's still going to be more valuable than the other players. So Kobe's not going to crash. Even if the market took a nosedive, Kobe's going to still hold value. But in 5 years from now, who are we going to be talking about? Is Kobe going to be an afterthought? Not necessarily an afterthought, but just somebody you don't talk about all the time because you're talking about what's going on 5 years from now. Who is the number one player in the NBA? Who's winning titles? Is Luka the man then? Because just like Jordan has always been an international superstar, and not just a sports superstar of all all over. He's just a world superstar in anything, and really didn't see spikes on him till his documentary because people just weren't really thinking about him. Now people can't really forget about him. Michael Ham, what's going on, man? I got to chat with Mike last night on Ziggy's Live. If you guys were at Ziggy's Live, it was late. I got off at work. I popped in to try to get in some live chat. Got to speak with some people that I've never really gotten to talk to before, and subscribers that I see and watch videos of, like Michael here. So it was good to get to chat. Maybe I'll bring on some of you guys from chat every now and then if that's something people would be interested in. Because, like I said, I'm just a regular guy like the rest of you that likes to talk about hobby and the cards and the hobby and chat about sports and stuff like that. I'm not a big time YouTube mini celebrity or anything like that. And, I don't mind anybody popping on here any one time that wants to just chat and talk about, what we like, what we love. I think content creators are kind of finding each other and forming a hall of hobby creators like the Hall of Justice. Well, we just chat. I mean, we were content creators first, or first we were hobbyists and collectors, and then we became content creators, and then we just started chatting like either on Facebook or in Facebook groups, and then we would have each other on a live stream. It just kind of happened like that organically. It wasn't like, hey man, let's form a group of YouTube content creators and stuff like that and try to be popular. It just was an organic formation of regular guys, at least that's what I think, that shared a passion for the same thing. And that goes along with everybody in the comments. That's not just us. You guys just don't happen to have a camera in front of you. That's all. And, we're all the same. Will says he'll hop on with a Lando mask. And yeah. Let's see. What's up, Stephen Ryan? What's going on? Hold on. Sadie's got a question for me here. Sadie's Family Cards. Thoughts on top diamond icons baseball as long-term investment? If they're, I don't do much with baseball, so I don't know this product. If you could compare it to a product from another sport, that might help me out. Anything that's low serial number and all rookie autos and stuff, that was always going to have some sort of collectability to it. Scarcity, rarity, and memorabilia type autos and stuff is always going to have some sort of collectability to someone, whether it's somebody investing in a player because they're an all-time great, or whether it's somebody investing in a player that's not such a great player. However, they play for someone's favorite team, or they play for, or they're just someone's favorite. Like, I've had players in the past in baseball, like Ken Caminiti, that was my favorite player. I used to buy every neat Ken Caminiti card that I could find. And that's just because I liked him as a player, not because he was this all-time Hall of Famer. Merle says he remembers when it was like 20 people watching, and then one day I look and notice thousands watching you now. It's crazy. It's crazy, but like my channel growth, is nowhere near the other guys. Those guys are like over 10,000 subs, and that's fine. I'm happy with what I have. I don't market my channel. I don't advertise it. I don't have links. I don't do a whole lot. You guys know I do it, and I don't do a video every day, which would get me out there more. But I do a video maybe once or twice, at least once, maybe twice a week, and a live stream. That's what I do. That keeps it fun for me. That doesn't I don't want to oversaturate. You guys just see my face every single day. I would get tired looking at myself. And, that's just my route. And the other guys, they like to put out more content, and they like to do their things, which is cool also. It helps them grow. I like being the low guy on the totem pole. It lets me know that at least a majority of my subscribers are real, and they're here to listen and talk with me, as opposed to I just have a bunch of subscribers that don't tune in to the content at all. They're just a statistic. Michael says, nice logo, should be a sticker. Yeah, Caminiti had issues, especially after baseball, but he was a good player. What's up, Yanks fan? Man, Yanks fan, I don't know what happened today, but I know my Orioles put 10 runs up on the Yankees yesterday. That was rough. Let's see. Ton of blood on that Mets guy, probably a bad nasal fracture. Did someone in the Mets get hit with a ball? Did he get hit with a pitch or a comebacker or something? I'm not sure. But yeah, guys, now I want to touch on something that I think could help the modern basketball market. And you guys might think that I'm crazy, but just, hear me out. And it's not any dislike for this player. It's not anything like that. But I'm going to say it. If the Lakers don't make it in, if the Lakers lose their play-in game, I think it's going to be good for modern basketball cards. Okay, now, you guys might be saying, what do you mean? It's going to kill values of LeBron. It's going to kill values of Anthony Davis. Those guys are going to, those guys are going to tank till next season. They really won't, especially LeBron, who only tanked to a certain point. But it will make it believable it will make it believable that another team and another young player has a chance at winning a title. Because I saw an interesting poll the other day, and it was a YouTube poll that somebody posted. Who do you think is going to win the NBA championship? And 75 to 78% of the votes were in favor of the Lakers. So that's telling me nearly 75 to 80% of the people, at least the people on this poll, believe that the Lakers are going to win it. So if that many people think that the Lakers are going to win, then nobody's going to want to put their money into Luka. Nobody's going to want to put their money into Trae Young. Nobody's going to want to put their money into the Joker, even though he's an MVP candidate. No one's going to put their money into any of these young players because they're going to be like, well, these guys are just going to get knocked out of the playoffs. I'll just buy them later. And then the second team coming in there was the Nets. And if you look at the top three players on the Nets, they're all veterans. They're all from 2012 and earlier. They're all veterans. So the two favorites to win it all are all guys that are already Hall of Fame bound and guys that are like in the back end of their careers. But what this is doing is it's dragging down the modern market, I believe, because no one realistically believes that anyone can beat Kevin Durant and the Nets or LeBron James and the Lakers. So nobody wants to put their money into these guys because right now they're too big of underdogs to expect them to be champions. But if the Lakers don't win that play-in game, now all of a sudden the West becomes wide open. You know, you could see cards. You could finally see Donovan Mitchell cards go up. You could finally see Devin Booker's cards spike again. You could finally see Luka cards start to rise a little bit because all of these guys now in people's head and in their psyche are going to be like, well, they don't have to beat the Lakers. Anybody can beat anybody now. It's open game now. The 75% favorite that everyone was picking, the Lakers, is no longer in the playoffs. They didn't make it in. So I think that a Lakers loss, while it would hurt LeBron and Anthony Davis values in the short term, will help the other young players, especially in the West, because now people are going to buy them thinking that they have a realistic shot of winning a championship. And the reason I use this is because when you look at football cards right now, the generation change is taking place. All of your, top quarterbacks in the league and guys that are up and coming from 2017 to now, guys that have been in the league for less than 5 years, are all your big-time quarterback names. You still have Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady there, but all of your big-time quarterbacks are now young starters. And so people are willing to gamble on these guys because in football, any one of these guys has a realistic chance to win. Of course, Mahomes gets the most money because he has the most realistic chance of winning one. He already has won one. But Baker Mayfield stuff is going up because the Browns are realistic. The Ravens are realistic. Josh Allen and the Bills, it's realistic. And in football, you don't have to beat somebody in a best out of 7. You only have to pull off an upset. You only have to have one good game against another team's bad day to win and pull off an upset. And so there's a more realistic chance that these younger generation guys that are just coming into the league can win a Super Bowl. Where in basketball, it's hard to beat the best team in a best of 7 series. And when your best teams have the guys that are already super highly priced, like Durant and LeBron James, and they're the guys that everybody's already counting to win, it's going to hold down the prices and the desire to buy some of the younger players and younger talent. So that's kind of a thought that I have. If the Lakers get knocked out, are we going to see a boost in players on the Nuggets and the Jazz and those guys out there in the West? Kawhi, the Clippers. I mean, Kawhi's older, but does he his cards haven't moved. So, and that'll put Steph Curry in, who's playing crazy. But that's just my thoughts on that. Now I'm going to come back to the comments so I can interact with you guys. I just wanted to give that thought. And Josh is saying, sorry, but the Lakers aren't losing both play-in games. And you're more than likely right. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying that this is something that I think would give a shot in the arm to modern basketball and younger players, the cards of the younger players. But like I said, it's a long shot for it to happen. But if it did happen, that's something that I could see going on. Adam says 100% right. LBJ cards aren't budging much either way. Yep. As long as LeBron is playing, it's people are going to look at the other young players as not having a chance to win. It happened with Barkley and Ewing and all those, and Malone and all those guys back in the day when Jordan was winning all the titles. It was pretty much like, okay, Jordan controls the market. Until Jordan's gone, nobody's worth buying except for Jordan. Dan says Clippers are going to win it all. If Kawhi's the kind of player that if he does win another one, I do see a spike in his prices, because that'll be number 3 with a different team. They'll all be with different teams. It'll be San Antonio, Toronto, and then LA, and also in a big market like the Clippers and a team like the Clippers that have never done anything. I could see his prices really going up, because it would also give him his 3rd title. And once you win a 3rd title as the leader of a team, especially with 3 different teams, you start throwing your name around, in that hat of top players ever, just because of your accomplishments. Oh no, E-Man got Bol. He got Bol his shout out for the night. Peeps asked, do I sip into hockey at all? Not really. I only own 2 hockey cards. One of them I can't get a market or dip, sip and dip. But I don't really get into hockey that much. I wouldn't mind it. I got to get more interested in watching the sport again. I just haven't watched hockey since the mid-90s. I was a huge Flyers fan. They were swept by the Red Wings in the mid-90s for the Stanley Cup with Lindros and Leclerc and Renberg and Brenda Moore and all those guys. And it killed me, man. It broke my heart. And I just kind of was like, I'm never watching hockey again. And actually, I really didn't. I actually followed my emotions. Even when they came back a couple years ago and was in the Stanley Cup, I don't know. We got here. Adam, Steph is definitely capable of knocking LA out twice. Steph has been a man on a mission, and here's the thing, is the Warriors were counted out. They were counted out as soon as Klay Thompson went down. Nobody gave the Warriors a chance in hell. No one on TV, no one in the hobby. I'm not going to say no one. There's probably some believers out there because they're probably fans, but Steph Curry is showing that how great he really is. He's not just a good shooter. He's a good leader. He's a good presence. He can take over a game and win. And he's shown he's got the heart of a champion. Anybody could have folded and been like, you know what, let's cash it in this year, boys. But no, he put this team on his back, and there's other players around him playing well, but he's that team. Amara says, if I'm getting back into hockey, no better time than the playoffs. Maybe I'll look in Dallas to check out some cards, but really I'm going out there with a couple hockey cards to shop, just because there might be some people out there that like hockey that might be interested in a card or two that I have. E-Man's going to bring up, I guess this is Bagley's playing pretty good lately, so we're talking about Bagley on the Kings. I mean, even if he's playing good lately, the Kings are done, right? So it's like, what has he got to play for? Or their games are probably even over, right? And he's hurt, like always hurt. I mean, every year, the last couple seasons have kind of been, okay, this is Bagley's year. And I know he's only been in the league since 2018, but a lot of people have talked him up. And he was in my very first flip, grip, or skip video, which I haven't done many of those lately. He was my very first skip because I just didn't like his price point, and I didn't like his team, and I didn't like his health. And I probably jinxed him. That's my fault. But I'm still not back in on a lot of these younger guys, because even going forward, what is his future going to be? Is he just going to be a guy that can go out and put up 15 to 18 points a night on his team, being the second or third or probably the third option on his team? Those guys just don't have any type of longevity. They, lots of players can put up those types of numbers, and then, they're in the league for 5 to 8 years, and then we forget about them. Especially with the market being smarter, people, if you could buy Bagley and sell into his hype, but I don't believe the hype is going to be there for certain players like it was before. Dan says, what under the radar player has the best chance of jumping in price with a good playoff showing? Under the radar, well, he's not really under the radar, but I think Jimmy Butler can move. I think his cards actually may have moved this week. The Heat started really playing a lot better. They're looking a lot like what they did last year, where they hung around, and then towards the end of the year, they just came together as a full team. And that team, when you look in the box score, none of those guys really outshines one or the other. The 5 starters will all score anywhere between 12 and 18 points to 20 points, and then you'll have 2 or 3 guys off the bench, anywhere with, around 15 points. It's just a complete team. They're deep. They're playing Tyler Hero off the bench now that he's back from injury, and he's had good games since he's been back, averaging around 18 points, 15, 18, shooting a lot better. And he's coming off the bench now, which actually I think is a good place for him to do right now. He doesn't have as much pressure when he's running with the starting 5. And, he's better than a lot of players, a lot of other teams' bench. So when you have a player like Tyler Hero coming off, I think that helps him excel. So talking about those 2 guys, I guess Hero and Butler, but what I've seen in the market already, if there has been some movement, it has actually been on those 2 players, surprisingly enough. I just lost an auction minutes before Livestream started for a nice Tyler Hero card. And it was a prism. It was a numbered prism, but it went for over $600. So there's still, some of this rare colored stuff of these young players is still holding some value. Trust me, I just lost an auction at $630 for a red prism of Tyler Hero. Scott says it's crazy how nobody talks about Giannis. We talked a lot about Giannis on my live stream last week. And I think the Bucks are better than they've ever been. I think this Bucks team is better than any Bucks team Giannis has ever played for. The record doesn't necessarily reflect it like last year because they got off to a really slow start, but that was team chemistry. And they look as good as anybody. I agree. And we talk about Giannis a lot. Especially last week, we talked about him a lot. Adam says De'Aaron Fox still not getting the love he deserves. Well, it's just because De'Aaron Fox, he's on Sacramento. There's lots of good players on bad teams. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, he's still young. He's good. He's talented. If he was on another team in a bigger market, he doesn't have a very good shooting percentage, though. He puts up numbers, but look at the amount of shots that he takes. It's very similar to a Colin Sexton type player or a Kobe White. The times that these guys a lot of times score big numbers is when they put up a lot of attempts, which takes away from everybody around them. And, the shooting percentage isn't as high as it needs to be. What's up, Neo in the house? What's going on, man? Any comic book pickups today? I watched Marvel Monday this morning talking about the Spider-Man books. I sold my ASM 361 9.6, but I still have my 9.8. Made $250 profit on it. Let's see. Yeah, Neo is in on Giannis. We chatted that actually. Neo was on last week, guys. Most of you guys were here. But yeah, Giannis, the Bucks are strong. Giannis is a beast. The only reason he's not getting the hobby love he deserves is because there's nothing else he can accomplish. When you win back-to-back MVPs and you put up the types of numbers that he puts up, people expect a championship. So he needs the championship. But that's not taking anything away from him as a player. Oh, you got the Strange Academy today? Yeah, I like the Strange Academy stuff because I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan. He's probably my favorite, Doctor Strange. Trevor, what's going on, man? Welcome to the live stream. Randy, I don't have any Kaboom slabs. I might look to get some, but because I don't bust wax, I've never pulled any. And I just have never even looked at them on eBay. I'm not much of an insert person. The only insert that I have that's a decent insert is a mosaic stained glass of Russell Westbrook in a graded in a 10. And I only bought it because I saw it dirt cheap. It was like $60, and this was last year. So I'm not much of an insert collector, but that could change, especially if there's some stuff that I really like. But I believe that when you buy inserts, they got to be the top tier guys. You can't just buy inserts of, De'Aaron Fox, since we just were talking about him. It's got to be LeBron and Steph and Giannis in basketball. And in soccer, they're really popular in soccer, but it's got to be Ronaldo and Messi and Mbappe. Those popular guys. That's where you need to put your money in your inserts. For the most part, your inserts are going to all be good players because they're not going to make inserts of bums, of scrubs. Wouldn't that be interesting? Say, for instance, you have a favorite player and he's not an all-star caliber player. Wouldn't you still like to have like a downtown or a mosaic of your favorite player, even though he is like the sixth man or something? It's a shame. Bradley says Chris Middleton is a choke artist in the playoffs. Ziggy says first LeBron was a real MVP and they gave it to Giannis to keep him. Oh, come on, Ziggy. I'm gonna hard disagree with this. Giannis dominated last season. LeBron, ran point for the Lakers and had a lot of assists and stuff, but LeBron is also running with Anthony Davis. Giannis isn't running with any players near the caliber of Anthony Davis. In fact, Anthony Davis is probably almost as good as Giannis. So he's got a player, LeBron's playing with a player of that caliber, an MVP type player. Peep says, what's my soccer stash look like these days? Who do I like? All of my soccer, almost a majority of it is I'm taking to Dallas with me to see how much I can move. Because I know there's not always a whole lot of soccer at the shows and stuff, but there's always people looking for it. I have, let me see. I'll just pull out a couple randoms. A lot of my soccer stuff is older, vintage stuff. And a lot of people are looking for this stuff because it's really hard to find. Graded. And I keep pulling up stuff that I've showed recently. Just some 2006 World Cup stickers of Messi and Ronaldo. Got some of the stuff from my last grading submission, like those Harry Kane silvers, if you saw them. I'll probably try to move this Raheem Sterling 2016 Silver Prism, Gem Mint 10, 0 population. He's still in the, still in the Champions League with Man City, and Man City won Premier League, or is going to win Premier League. And then I got a couple Harry Kane cards with the Euros coming up. England's looking good. More than likely, he'll captain that team. These came back from my last grading submission. This is a Prism Flash, PSA 9. This is a Pop 1, none graded higher. So none graded higher than this one, and the PSA 9 is a Pop 1 itself. Try to find this card raw on eBay. Probably impossible. And then the regular silver Prism, not the Shock. This is silver. PSA 10 of Harry Kane. This is a Pop 9, I believe. So anybody looking to grab up some of those goodies from the England national team. England is like collecting the Yankees in the soccer world. So a lot of people are putting their money into the young guys like Foden, which I do have some Foden stuff. I like Foden. I liked Foden before a lot of people liked Foden. Let's put it this way. I liked Foden when his optics were $10. And I bought a lot of them, as in a lot of 4 of them, 4 optics. I bought 4 optic Foden Raiden rookies for $33. So that goes to show you how long ago I was in on Phil Foden cards. They're all with Sunday League investors getting graded right now, though. So I don't even have them on hand. But Mason Greenwood, Marcus Rashford, there's just a lot of young guys on that England team that people like. Mason Mount is another popular one. So if Harry Kane is playing in the Euros for England and captaining that team of young guys, and Harry Kane, he just led the Premier League in goals and assists. He led both categories this season. And he might transfer next year. So I got some nice Harry Kane stuff. My Foden stuff is getting graded. Unfortunately, I don't have it. I might actually look to grab a couple more. Let's see what else we got. People are asking how you could not like Giannis. I like Giannis. Yanks fan here says Vinicius, Haaland, and Mbappe. I'm not big on Vinicius, but of course, that's just me. And Haaland and Mbappe, they're great. They're already super expensive. We know they're going to be great. I'd like to get a nice Haaland before he transfers to Premier League. But also sometimes when these young guys transfer to the Premier League, they stumble out of the gates. So, Mbappe or Haaland both moving to Premier League or even La Liga would be great for those guys, especially their values, but their values are already jacked up. Look at Haaland's value when he plays in Bundesliga. It's crazy. I'm a Lewandowski fan. Lewandowski got his 40th goal this weekend. I think 41 will either tie the record or break the record for single season goals in Bundesliga. And he's already great anyway, but he's about to break the single season goal record. And he missed games with a knee injury, and he missed Champions League. Bayern Munich would have probably won it all, or at least faced Man City in the finals. Yeah, this is my point. Havertz and Werner both struggled. Werner started turning it up a little bit towards the end of the year, was playing better for Chelsea, I believe, and we'll see how he does in the Champions League against Man City. Werner was a big part of Chelsea in the Champions League, but he didn't have a great Premier League. Havertz still getting his feet under him big time. Werner's a little bit older, though, so might have picked up, they might have found a way to use him. He might have picked it up a little bit quicker. And I like Werner also. Yeah, I knew Lewandowski got 40. I didn't know if that was the tie or if he needed one more. I didn't know if he needed one to break it. I didn't know if 41 was the record or 40 was. La Liga is moving to ESPN. Dan says, what should we look for in younger soccer players to invest in? You like to invest in anyone that has market value of anyone over $40 million. I don't necessarily look at their value as opposed to what they're worth, from a contract standpoint. Sometimes somebody is a big transfer and costs a lot of money, and that doesn't always necessarily lead to good play on the pitch. And you guys got me speaking all my soccer lingo. I haven't talked soccer in a long time, but young players right now, I'm not in on the young players in soccer right now because they're so overpriced. It's kind of like Ja Morant and Zion last year in basketball. Guys like Haaland and stuff, they're really priced like those guys. I think there'll be a chance to get in on some of those players when they come down, especially with a player like Haaland, who probably won't be able to play in the World Cup because of the nation that he plays for. He might, because I think there's two nations he can choose between, but I'm not sure. High Grade Pat says, who's winning the finals? I guess you're talking about the NBA finals. I'm going to say man, you guys are going to disagree with me hardcore. I'm going to say we have a I think the Nuggets are going out of the West. So go ahead and disagree with me and yell at me and tell me how stupid I am. But I think the Nuggets are going out of the West. And I think that out of the East, I don't think it'll be the Nets. Somebody's going to upset the Nets. I'm really torn. Like, I don't want to count out the Heat. I just don't want to count out the Heat. they get hot at the right time. I'm going to say the Heat go back and they play the Nuggets. This is crazy, man. I'm betting long shots here. I'm going to say the Heat go back and they play the Nuggets and they actually win it. They actually win it this year. Because they stood up to the Lakers last year. What else is on my hit list for Dallas? Okay, I'm looking for a couple Kyler Murrays. If I can find them at the right price, the right cards. I'm still buying a couple Zions because I believe his market is going to be down. If I find a decent, I'd like to get a couple decent, maybe not a couple, not too heavy, but I'd like to find a decent Baker Mayfield card. I still like Tyler Hero's potential. That's just me. So that's some of my basketball and football that I'm looking for. Soccer, I'm just going to kind of wing it. If I find any deals, basically I'm looking for deals. I'm not going to pinpoint any certain player or any certain card. I'm going to look for value. And if I find value or if I think I'm finding value, that's what I'm going to look for. The only card that I'm looking to pinpoint is a 98 Top Stadium Club co-signers, Dan Marino, Peyton Manning. It's a Peyton Manning rookie auto with Dan Marino auto also, and they're both on the front. And Dan Marino and Peyton Manning are my two favorite players to ever play. So I'll have both of them on the same card of a rookie year of Peyton Manning autoed. If I can find that already graded. The signatures are really hard to find because the signatures on that, either on that card or the ink that they used, didn't stick very well. A lot of times you find those autos and those cards and the autos are just destroyed. They look like absolute crap. There's one on eBay right now, 9.5, and it's got a 10 on the auto. I don't know if I'll ever see another one of those, so I'm interested in it. I just don't want to pull the trigger on a card on eBay right now when I'm going to a big show on Thursday. I have the budget, but I would rather buy that card in person and either work a little bit of a trade or, just negotiate it in person, because the market on that card doesn't really exist. The person on eBay can pretty much slap whatever price they want to slap on it, and I can't negotiate with them other through buy it nows and stuff. Scott says, evening, am I targeting July to unload my Mannings? No, I'll unload them before July. Everybody will be targeting. Okay, here's the thing. If anyone's holding Peyton Manning, they're probably holding him for the Hall of Fame induction. So, you got to sell before everybody else lists, or just too many listings hit eBay at the same time. I've actually sold a couple and I have a couple. And if you remember, my very first video I ever did on YouTube, which may be over a year ago now, I may have reached my year anniversary. I don't even realize it. I don't try to keep up with time. And I guess I should have done something special for it, but we're approaching 4,000 subscribers. I'll do something for that. But yeah, that was the very first video I ever did. I think I talked about Albert Pujols and Peyton Manning cards and them being really cheap. So even if I sell my Peyton Mannings now, it's impossible for me to lose on Peyton Manning. I was buying his Bowman Chrome PSA 10 rookies when they were at $150. So they've been up to 1,000. They've been up to 1,500. They've come back down to 600. They've been at 800. They've fluctuated all around. I do know one thing, that because I was buying them at 150, I don't think there's any possible way I could take a loss on them. Actually, it's impossible because I actually sold a couple already. So I've made profit back. So even if these ones I have now, I lost on, I'd still be up. I do not have a Larry Fitzgerald rookie. Let's see what Trigger says. Steve, any guesses on to this year's Tyler Hero, if there is one? A young guy like MPJ, Emmanuel Quickly, Peyton Pritchard, Devontae Murray, John Morant, Jalen Brunson. Well, see, the thing about Tyler Hero is he's not the number one option on his team. But when you talk about some of these other guys, see, John Morant's the number one option on his team. And everybody knows who John Morant is. He has no under the radar type appeal. Hero, he came out of nowhere because he was injured all year. he was injured almost most of the season, and then all of a sudden he showed up in the playoffs and was like knocking down jumpers all over the place. And he was very marketable. He's the type of person that they want to put the camera on. I mean, he did that little bit, and I don't want to talk about Top Shot, but I am. I mean, he was the spokesperson for Top Shot already. I mean, he's in social media all the time with his girlfriend and things like that. Things that actually can be a distraction to the game. And things that the team don't necessarily like, especially when you're playing with somebody like Jimmy Butler. But Michael Porter Jr., again, he's been one of those guys that people have been waiting to pop off, and he's playing great. He's actually a guy who's seeing a little bit of rise in his cards. So is it too late to get in on him now? It just depends on how high of a ceiling you think his cards have, because they are slowly going up. You can't buy MPJ today for what you could have bought him for last month. Trust me, I bought some. So I'm not buying now. I bought them. I was buying them before Jamal Murray got hurt. And I was one of those believers that said that they won't miss a beat with Jamal Murray gone. Not a knock on Jamal Murray, but I just thought Michael Porter Jr. would step in, and Jokic is good enough to make the rest of the team better. Bradley's got Jazz and the Nets in the finals. You heard it here first. Jazz getting upset without Mitchell. Drew says card shows are great, but take a lot of money away from eBay, which is hurting comps. Card Ladder shows a 40% drop in eBay sales on Saturdays, which is big card shows days. Yeah, but you know what? eBay is not doing themselves any favors. All these new listing stipulations, things that they're doing, fees. Their fees are crazy. Who wants to buy off eBay and get charged a fee for using eBay and a fee for using PayPal? They're taking 13 to 14% out of every sale. So they're not doing themselves any favors, and they don't need to take that much. They make enough money. And then they allow people to return cards, once the market comes down on a card. You buy a card for $800 or you sell one for $800. The next week it goes down to $650 and the person's wanting to return it on you, and eBay's going to let them. So I'm never going to argue a case for eBay. Business as usual. So it's definitely the most authentic live show. Thanks, man. And try to keep it real. Just try to relate. I want to be relatable to everybody. I want you guys to realize I'm just a regular dude that likes the hobby, buys and sells cards, and likes to come on here and talk to you guys. Nothing go to my head about being, I'm Steve. My name's Steve. I just put the flipping in front of it. Does anyone like Levert or Sabonis cards this season? Now, Sabonis cards were hot to start the season, and he just kind of fizzled out. He slowed down a little bit. I think they got hot to start the season because he was one of those guys that came out under the radar and was really hot. Star stock legend and things like that. I don't think anyone really believes in the Pacers. So even though those guys are good players, again, there's lots of good players in the league. I mean, look, Damian Lillard is a great player, probably one of the best players in the league. I don't know if people are buying his cards right now because they don't believe that Portland can win a title. GDS is in Star Stock doing well with the graded cards. I'm not really sure. I do know if it became more popular, I would send some slabs to Star Stock, but I believe a lot of people try to use Star Stock to do those really quick day trading type buys and sells. Buy something really cheap. The guy has a couple big games. You sell it within a day or two, after a couple big games or even one big game in some points, when the market was absolutely crazy in the preseason. I don't know if that will hold true in the long term because people are more smart to the hobby and they're not just buying anybody after, a 20-point night. I think it's a good platform to move your slabs on because they upload them really quickly. They ship them out really quickly if you want to have them sent home. And there's no returns and there's way less fees. They handle all of the extra work. And it just needs to be a bigger platform for slabs. And until people start sending their slabs or buying more slabs off there, it won't grow as a platform for slabs. The hobby as a whole has to adopt it. And right now, maybe slowly but surely, but I still think a lot of people go there for graded card deals because they're getting a soft grade on a card. And so they feel they have a peace of mind to pay for it. Yeah, I saw SCA did a video on a lawsuit brought against Top Shot. I saw that video. I haven't seen any headlines. I just might have looked in the right place. I don't look that kind of stuff up. I mean, I'm too busy with my job and my family during the regular part of the day that, and then doing whatever research I'm going to do for cards, trying to put together one video a week. So I don't have time to get into to look up a lawsuit against Top Shot because personally, I don't want to sound harsh. I don't really care. Like if Top Shot did something wrong and they get sued, then they deserve to get sued. If they didn't do anything wrong, then this person's in the wrong and the truth will come out in the end. And there's nothing I can do to influence what happens with this lawsuit. So, I have some stuff in Top Shot, but again, I mean, they've probably made so much money that they could probably pay somebody out on a lawsuit and be fine. They're not talking about it. They're still pumping out packs and stuff on their website. There's no headline saying, guys, we're being sued. Stop all transactions. So, where do we blind again? So Ziggy says the lawsuit doesn't have much merit, but it'll be interesting. I mean, people can do a lawsuit for anything these days. You can say, hey, I want to sue that person, and boom, you got a lawsuit. So, Dapper, they saw that company, it could have been a case where they saw that company making a lot of money, and they looked at it of, hey, I'm going to try to find something. I'm going to try to dig a needle in a haystack and try to find something to make a legitimate lawsuit about. So, and again, I'm not a criminal justice major or anything like that. So, law student. As far as Top Shot goes, Ziggy, I buy the pack drop and I put it away. I've gotten 3 or 4 packs from the recent pack drops and I haven't opened them. They're just in my collection and I haven't bought any moments. In fact, I only have maybe 15 or 16 moments left. One of them is a LeBron legendary that's market, apparently the market on it is worth a lot of money, but it's only worth what somebody's willing to pay me for it. I still have that one. I've gotten all my money off the platform, which was a lot. Took a long time, but I got all my money off the platform. But yeah, I would rather just take that money and buy some nice tangible cards for myself. Joel says he's being sued for being a Flippin' Steve fan. Man, that is a bogus lawsuit, Joel. I'm telling you, it will not stand up in court. In fact, we'll choose 12 people out of the comments here to be the jury. You will get off scot-free. But yeah. Do I buy from Pete Rose's Best Bet Auto, Lando's Lemons, or Johnny Manziel Motors? Oh, man. Okay, I can talk about this. When is Bryce Harper going to get some hobby love? He's not. He's not. If he would have, it would have happened by now. I mean, you figure he's been in the league as long as Trout, pretty much. He's always been overshadowed by Trout, or he come in the league in 2012 maybe. He came in the same year as Manny Machado. He just hasn't lived up, I don't think, to his expectations. Even though he's played well, I don't think he's lived up to what people thought he was going to play as far as consistency and as far as a contract and things like that. Yeah, he sells a lot of jerseys. He sells tickets. But then he goes out and he bats like 240. 35 to 40 home runs, yeah, that's good. But when you're making the kind of money that he makes, I think you got to do more. And I just believe it's kind of come and gone for Bryce Harper as far as the hobby goes. Now, maybe someday, once he's retired, people might look back and be like, man, Bryce Harper cards are super underpriced, kind of like what happened with basketball. And people did the same thing with Allen Iverson and players like that. that could happen. But Bryce hasn't done anything. He left the Nationals and they won a World Series. So it's like, what does he have to go for him except a decent fantasy stat line that's not even over the top and, a cool haircut? I mean, that's if you're a Bryce Harper fan, I'm sorry that I put it like that, but, the only baseball cards I really messed with this year was pool hole stuff. I bought it actually like a year and a half ago to a year ago, and I've been selling some of it. I know he just got signed by the Dodgers. I mean, his career is pretty much over. I was mainly buying him for what he had done in the past and hadn't gotten notoriety for. But when you're like fifth all time in the major leagues in home runs, or fourth, he's fifth, you go down in history as being one of the best hitters ever, especially when you have 3,000 hits to go with it. Mike, Bryce Harper is actually underrated on a value standpoint. Go look at his stats. Most players excel from 28 to 32 in Major League Baseball. But that's 4 years, right? That's 4 years. So players excel for 4 years. You got to have more than 4 really good years to be a Hall of Fame player. These guys that are putting, I mean, you look at guys like Tatis. I mean, he's already had 1 year of acceleration, and he's young. Acuna's working on his second or third year. So where's Harper lie with these guys? I mean, these younger players are outplaying him already. Again, Harper's been a pretty good baseball player, but he just doesn't warrant, he just isn't what the contract and the hype around him that was built up. He just doesn't meet that, in my opinion. And I live near Philly. So, I know how he affects the games in the stadium and things like that. It's just like Chris Davis in the Orioles. They paid him all that money, and he's terrible. He's not even the best Chris Davis in the league. And, and I'm not comparing him to Harper. Harper's way better than him. But, again, Harper's just not the type of player. You should be batting 300 and hitting 35 home runs and stealing, 20 bases and winning gold gloves when you're getting the kind of contract that he has. But that's not him. That's more like Acuna. Acuna's doing that stuff. Is anyone buying Ohtani? I don't know if that'd be a good idea right now because he's so hot that his cards are probably peak. When buying at the peak is bad. Done that in the past. TheCardDeal.com says current players for a shot at the Hall of Fame: Arenado, Harper, Manny, Freeman, all on pace. I agree with Arenado. The knock on him will always be that he played for Colorado, Arenado for Colorado, but I believe he's great. I think he's awesome. But his numbers, first of all, he's an infielder, he's a third baseman, Gold Glover, the best. Manny's really good at third base too. But Arenado bats well over 300, hits bombs all year, has tons of RBIs, doesn't have a lot of baggage, doesn't have a lot of media hype around him. And it's just got better numbers when you comparing like him to somebody like Bryce Harper again. Manny, again, I'm an Orioles fan, so I'm a huge Manny fan. Kind of got a little bit of a bad flavor when he went to the Dodgers and kind of seemed like he was lazy. And Freddie Freeman's another one of those great players that flies under the radar because he's super quiet, and he's actually probably the best overall player on his team. He's just overshadowed by other players on his own team because he's really doesn't talk a whole lot and things like that, just quiet. Yeah, Arenado's a lock. Arenado's a beast. There's a big difference from elite which Harper's not, but he's excellent. Trout's going to MVP this year. His cards will 3 to 6x just this year, and Angels will make the playoffs. To be honest, guys, I haven't watched a lot of baseball. Like I said, I'm an Orioles fan, and because I don't invest a lot in the baseball market, the Orioles don't give me a whole lot to watch. I will check up on some scores and things every now and then to see how the young players are doing. I don't know what Trout's doing this year. He might be leading the league in average. I'm not sure. And I'm not even sure what Harper's doing this year. I just know I hear a lot about Trout regardless of how he's doing. So to me, he's the face of baseball. He's going to overshadow a lot of the guys that came in the league with him. Thoughts on having a 2001 Topps Steve Smith rookie card graded? I'm thinking he's headed to the Hall of Fame. Would that be as good one? I mean, Steve Smith was a great player. Again, how much are you going to have to pay to get it graded? I mean, that's the thing. There's probably not a lot of graded cards of him out there. So, if you think there's ever going to be a catalyst that's going to cause him to move, then having that card graded and being the first on the market is a good thing. That'll get you premium. So, that's a gamble on you. A lot of times the Hall of Fame induction is we talk about that, but I don't think it affects cards as much as we like to think that it does. Especially it's usually the build up to the Hall of Fame. It's never the day or a week after the Hall of Fame. And a lot of times, people are buying players with the notion that they're Hall of Famers or selling cards with the notion that they're Hall of Famers. I'm sure you wouldn't be buying and selling cards of bad players, especially when they're retired. So a lot of that stuff is already kind of baked in. Ron, what's going on, man? Is the casino life, Vegas is almost normal again? Yeah, we're getting back to normal. I think maybe next week we might get back to full capacity. We're going to take down, because we've had plexiglass on our tables dividing the players. So I think that's coming down. I think we're going back to capacity and things like that. So we'll see what's going on. With the summer coming, the casino tends to slow down a little bit because people, because I live near the beach. So in the summertime, people go to the beach all the time. So they don't congregate in the casinos like they do when the weather's crappy. Let's see. Noah asked, what is my favorite 90s basketball insert? Let's see, 90s basketball insert. This is going to be pretty easy. I think I'm going to say 92 Stadium Club Beam Team. And I know that's easy to say that because that set's really desirable and valuable and stuff, but it is for a reason. It just looks awesome. I think I like 92 Stadium Club Beam Team. If I think of another one that I really like, I'll let you know if it pops into my head. And if you have one, drop it in the comments. I might remember it. Yeah, like Neo says here, Hall of Fame bump is overrated. It's pretty overrated because a lot of people know about it already. It just bakes into cards, and then when it actually happens, it's kind of already there. Like players going into the Hall of Fame are going to already have value because they were such great players. That's why they're going into the Hall of Fame. Is the first year of Brady in a Bucs uniform good long term? I think it will have some appeal, especially to the Tampa players. And, just because it was that Super Bowl, whatever number it was that he won, I'm tired of counting them. But I'm not going to just say any old base card. I'm going to say, a numbered card, a really nice, aesthetically appealing looking card, like maybe a red prism that's numbered out of like 50 or something like that, graded. Yeah, that'll always have some collectability. Period, because it's Tom Brady. Pretty much all Tom Brady cards with some kind of scarcity that look nice in good condition are going to have some collectability because you're always going to have people buying Brady cards because he has a huge fan base. And his fan base got bigger. That's the thing. He had a huge fan base before going to the Bucks. But you can't tell me if you were a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan when Tom Brady was on the Patriots that you loved Tom Brady. So his fan base grew when he went to Tampa. He went to Tampa. Now all of a sudden, everybody in Tampa and Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans, they love him now too. And they hated him probably before that. Yeah, Jambalaya is a nice 90s insert. I think I still like Beam Team better. Jambalaya looks cool. Sometimes I'm not super huge on die cuts. I like some die cuts. I'm not completely against die cuts like some people, but Vesture Dim in the Blood. Have I ever been to Wildwood? I have, but I haven't spent much time in Wildwood. More so up to Atlantic City. Some time in Cape May. Like near where I live, the Cape May Lewis ferry runs, so I can hop the ferry and cross the Delaware Bay to New Jersey to Cape May, drive up to Atlantic City or even Ocean City. But if I go to Ocean City, I tend to go to Ocean City, Maryland, as opposed to Ocean City, New Jersey. But I can see New Jersey across the Delaware Bay from like where I live. What we got here? Yeah, Ziggy is wrong there. Giannis was two-way monster last year, deserved MVP, stupid regular season award, but that's what it is. Yeah. First year Stadium Club members only, so that'd just be like a parallel of the base cards. Bill says 3 players now going into Ball or Hall. I'm not sure, but he's got Big Ben and Kelsey. That's 2. Or maybe these players. Threes company. Jack Tripper. Oh, I just saw the Brady thing. Oh, Michael says, just me, always loved Brady, but most hated him. Jealousy. Yeah. Gronk for a long-term hold. Why or why not? I'm going to say, right now, I'm going to say no. Because Gronk cards tanked when he retired. And then they shot back up when he started playing again. So, if Tom Brady was to retire, his cards wouldn't tank. Drew Brees retired, his cards saw a slight dip, which is normal. And that could have just been market-based, not as opposed to player-based. Somebody like Gronk, when he retired before, his cards, nobody wanted them. They went down. Then all of a sudden, he's coming back with the Bucks, and all of a sudden, boom, everybody wants him. Here's the hype. Gronk's back. Let's buy him. So now, if you think of old tight ends that have been great, the greatest of the great tight ends that have played, whether you want to talk about Tony Gonzalez or Shannon Sharp, and Shannon Sharp has other things. Some people just can't stand Shannon Sharp because he's on TV. But Shannon Sharp, if you go all the way back to Kellen Winslow and Ozzie Newsome, or even way, way back to guys like Mike Ditka and things like that, there's not a whole lot of value. And I think a lot of those guys are better than Gronk. Gronk will forever be linked with Brady, but will he have been successful as he was without Brady? Oh, that's a good question. Vesture says field level or club level better. I'm not really sure. I haven't messed with the field level is still supposed to be the most rare, and club level now sits between premier level and field level. But I just feel like this select, now that it's in retail, it's being pumped out just as much as Prism is, even with the different tiers. I went on to buy 2 the other night just because I wanted one, and I wanted an orange one to be color matched to his uniform, and I didn't care about a serial number or anything because this was actually a card I was just looking to get for myself. And I was surprised at how many listings I saw. I was like, if there's this many listings of Tua die cuts and Tua orange and Tua green in the field levels and in the club levels, I was just like, already, like with as much product that's been open, I was just like, this stuff must really, really just be getting massively printed. Is Tim Tebow as a tight end collectible? He wasn't collectible. Was he collectible, period, as a player? I would probably say no. You're going to have longtime Tim Tebow fans just because they're Tebow fans or they're Florida Gator fans or things like that. As a tight end or as an NFL football player, no. Can you collect Tim Tebow because, he's in the media and things like that, and he might always have some popularity? Yes. But are you going to want to buy his cards based on what he's going to do on the field or based on what he's done on the field? I'm going to say no, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make the team. Who was he in Jacksonville? I mean, is this a publicity stunt? Is he getting on there because his old college head coach is the coach? I mean, is he going to make Trevor Lawrence better? And he's in Jacksonville. Are they even going to be any good? Let me see. Justin Turner, like on the Dodgers. If you picked up a pack fresh LeBron and Kobe rookies, Bowman Chrome, Topps Finest, Skybox Premium, Fleer Ultra, Topps Chrome, for less than $500, what would you do with them? Well, I mean, any LeBron and Kobe rookie, I mean, if they look decent, to me, they got to be graded. They just have to be. They're two iconic players, two of the best players of all time, not just on the court, but, popularity. You got to grade those players. Even if they come back and not such high grades, they're still going to have some value, especially in the long term. And if they come back at 8s, they're going to still have value. I bought a LeBron 2003 Topps Raw a couple months ago for $700, and I sent it in to have it graded. So that's what I would do. If I'm buying Kobe and LeBron rookies, I'm buying them with the intention of getting them graded. If I'm pulling them out of packs and they're pack fresh, I'm definitely getting them graded unless they were damaged in the packs. Yeah, Trigger Finger, that's who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Junior. I'm talking about Kellen Winslow Sr. Huh? How dare I say they're better than Gronk? I mean, Gronk was hurt a lot. These guys played all the time. Oh, yeah, Antonio Gates. That's another one. There's been a lot of tight ends, and see how easy they are to forget about? We're bringing them up, but that's because we're brainstorming about tight ends, but it's not like we walk around all day long, thinking about these guys, thinking about these players. Michael says the Jags will win 3 games, lock it in. Whew, that's harsh. They might not. Yeah, Tebow needs the pension. His boy Urban Meyer's trying to hook him up with it. What is my long-term thoughts on grading? Are you continuing to buy raw or only buying graded? I'm not buying anything really raw right now because, first of all, I don't like to buy raw unless I can see it in person. So maybe that could change this week. I might buy some raw cards in Dallas. But because I also have a lot of raw card inventory that needs to be sent in the graded, and I'm just not in any rush to get it in. I showed earlier I have boxes and boxes of slabs that I need to move. So right now with the grading card prices for PSA, as well as how I'm going to see how things are going to play out with SGC and the other grading companies to see what the market looks like on them, I'm like in no rush. But that's because I got a lot of other things that I can move. And I also have 2 orders currently out. I have a big soccer order out with Sunday League investors. And I also have like a 25 card, half Pokemon, half basketball, half, well, not, that would be 3 halves. That wouldn't make sense. But it's got some Pokemon, some basketball. It's actually got some rock and roll stickers in it, like a 1968 Jimi Hendrix and like a 1985 Van Halen stickers in it that I want for myself. Well, yeah, I got those orders out. So again, I'm still waiting for orders to get in. I had so many orders out at one time, I was almost forgetting what I had out. So I'm just trying to get some of it back, and then I'll start sending out orders again. I might submit some myself to SGC because I think there's value there, even though there's not PSA market value. I'll pay the $30 a card, just to make some profit. I'll send in, a $30 raw card. If it gets an SGC 10, it'll probably be worth 150 to 175 bucks. Yes, it might be worth 300 to 350 in a PSA, but still, profit is profit, as opposed to sitting here to Lord knows when, just sitting here on our hands, not making anything. Yeah, Shannon Sharp only has one rookie card. It's a 1990 Action Pack rookie update. So again, 1990 cards were mass produced. You had Pro Set and Score and Tops and everything, but Action Pack rookie update is the only set that you can find a Shannon Sharp rookie card in it. It was just a cool card to find. I always liked it when I was a kid because it was so hard to find, because that was before you could just look it up on the internet and buy it. Did I send my soccer? My soccer cards went to PSA. My soccers went to PSA with Sunday League Investors. It was before the shutdown. I got them in. CeeDee Lamb. Did I get my rock and roll stickers on eBay? I got I probably did because they probably came from overseas. I'm still waiting for 1968 The Who sticker and like a 1970 75. Yeah, it's a 1975 Queen and a 1975 Freddie Mercury sticker. Like, I'm waiting for those. They've been sitting at U.S. Customs since like October. I don't think I'm ever going to get them. They were shipped to me from Germany, and the tracking says they're at U.S. Customs in New York. And they've been there for, I pretty much have just been like, I'm going to take a loss on these. Is this a blue Yeti mic? It's black. It's a Yeti mic, but it's black. Yeah, it says blue on it. So I guess that's what kind it is. But it's black in color. Why would they call it blue if it's black? Flipping Steve trade night. I thought about trying to put together a nice auction with some other content creators and just being like, for instance, taking a card and being like, hey guys, I'm going to throw up this 2003 Fleer Dwayne Wade PSA 9 starting bid of $20. Got to put it up for 30 seconds. Da-da-da-da-da. All right, sold. Something like that. That wasn't a real sale, by the way, because I'll probably end up selling. That card will end up going for $20. Ooh, I got a question. Drew asked if I'm buying any for the Euros. It all depends. Like, again, it's hard to answer questions right now what I'm going to buy, because I'm going to Dallas with just pretty much an open, hey, I'm going to buy deals and what I like. I do like Phil Foden stuff. I got some nice graded soccer stuff back, some Harry Kanes and players that I think are going to be good in the Euros. Got some Messi or Ronaldo in there, but they're World Cup stickers from like 2006. Did Trout get injured? Somebody saying that? Is that a joke? I'm not sure. People are like, do the auction. Yeah, like I said, this is why I want to do the card auction, because I watch comic book auctions on YouTube, and I buy a lot of comic books off these YouTube auctions, and I get really good deals, and they're fair. The sellers are satisfied with what they get, and I'm satisfied on what I'm paying. So, and it's worked out really well. I've bought a majority of my comic books like that. I haven't hardly touched eBay for comic books, and I don't see that in the card market. And there's like 6 or 7 different comic book panels that do auctions. They just get on StreamYard. They get like 5 or 6 of them, and they all take turns putting up something for sale. And I love it. I will watch and they run long. Like I'll watch a whole auction sometimes. I'll fall asleep watching them. Like they're like 3 and 4 hours long. So because I like it, I thought maybe I would try to bring it up and see if other people liked it. But I need other content creators to do it with me. I just don't want it to look like I'm coming on here with boxes and boxes of slabs or even raw cards and, trying to sell them off to people. Jordan's second year, PSA 8. See, we could run an auction. Michael Porter Jr. Select Concourse Silver, PSA 10. There we go for the new stuff. John Morant Mosaic Orange Reactive, PSA 10. I'm not a real big John Morant fan. Let's get over here to the comments now. Eventually, eBay will have to lower its fees for sports cards, just like they ended up doing for sneakers, to compete with the GOATs. I mean, I would hope so. I mean, if there was some competition on sports cards, like if some of the other platforms could really be competitive with eBay, then yeah, like whether it would be My Slabs or Star Stock or whoever, if they could really cut into eBay's business, then eBay would have to do something. But it just hasn't really happened at the moment. So do a test run on the jaw. Do a test run with the jaw. But see, if it's a test run, then people will just bid because they know that they won't be held to their bid. It's like in poker when you play like video poker, and it's not real money. You just play and you just bet fake money. Or if you were to play poker with somebody at the table for nothing, they would call every hand because there's nothing to lose. So that's how it would be if I put up a mock auction right now. Invested in rap and music cards all sealed. Did you buy some of the Yo MTV Raps cards? I think made by ProSet from 92, 91. I mean, I bought some singles. I bought a lot of that stuff really cheap, like Run DMC and some of the iconic ones for only like $1 a card because I planned on sending them to SGC when SGC was at $25, but then they shot their prices way up and it wasn't worth it. Now that they're back down to 30, I might get some of these Run DMC cards graded, my Soundgarden cards graded, because that would be for me personally. Some G.I. Joe cards, just things like that. Stuff you don't see on the market, because even if you spend $1 on it, get it graded for 30, it comes back at a decent grade, you can sell it for 60 or 70, you're making yourself a little bit of money. Can you get a picture with Lando? If yes, then Lando's Lemons. Brandon Ayuk. If I have Brandon Ayuk, it would only be some NFL mosaic, and I may have given them all away. One of my friends that I work with, him and his son are 49ers fans. So anytime I busted out Ayuk, if it was like a base card, I just let them have it. I would just be like, here, take this to your son. I did that with a lot of my base cards because my base cards just like pile up, and I would take them to work. I would even leave the superstars and the decent rookies in there if they were base, and then any silvers of even decent players, especially if they were players that he liked, even like Joe Montana and stuff. I'd be like, take these and then take all these other ones because maybe he can trade these with his friends. It was a way for me to get them out of my way without just throwing them away, and somebody that would appreciate them would have them. So I know that I gave away at least 2 Brandon Ayuk's mosaics to his son. I know that for sure. And then one day he brought me in a Don Russ. Was it a Don Russ? He brought me in some kind of neat looking Tua card just for the heck of it. So, that's how it works. Base card collector says Tupac has a Topps card. Now, Does he for sure? Because I almost bought a Tupac card that looked like a Topps card. However, I realized it was one of those custom cards. So don't get tricked by those. Like I saw one and I was like, dang, I didn't know Topps made a Tupac's card because it was like fashioned after a 1986 baseball Topps, I believe. And then, when I read into the description, I was like, oh, this is one of those custom made cards where they make a card look like it's from a certain set and they put, it's just a custom made card. It's not actually made by one of the card companies or manufacturers. So you got the UMTV wrap boxes. Does Tupac have a YoMTV wrap card from Impel? Did Impel make the YoMTV wrap cards, or was Impel part of that company? Yeah, Tal, that's what I believe. I believe the 1986 or whatever it was. Some of those Tupac cards are just custom cards. You got to be careful because people make those cards look like that and they look real and they look really good. I mean, I almost bought one on impulse, and then I read further into it and I was like, wait a minute. Buy Topps Now political cards. I have the original Desert Storm set and not the Desert Storm baseball set from Topps, like with the Chipper Jones. I'm talking about like the old Desert Storm set from 1990 or whenever. What's my thoughts on sending high-end cards to new grading companies? If they're super high end, I'm just going to go to PSA even at $300 because you're going to get that upcharge anyway. If they're really high end, you're really going to want to get your value out of them. Now, if it's a card that you want for PC or something, go with what you think looks best. I have a Black Widow Precious Metal Gems from Marvel, numbered out of 100, and it's red foil. I could have sent that card to PSA and got it back, and it'd been worth a pretty good amount of money because those precious metal gems on the Marvel cards are pretty popular. But I sent it to SGC because the black slab with the red foil looks awesome, and I kept that card. So I did that with a lot of the cards that I thought looked really cool in the black slab. Sharpshooter. Heard my explanation regarding Kyler Murray field level base cards being more rare than silvers. What am I smoking? Wait another year to see full pop reports. I didn't say that it was a definite, did I? I said based on pop reports and eBay listings. eBay listings also. I said sales or listings. You see a lot more silvers listed than you do non-silvers, whether they're graded or they're not. So pop reports don't really have nothing to do with that. I said it was a possibility. I didn't say it was a thing, though. Anyway, what he's referring to is last night on Ziggy's live stream. I was talking about 2019 field level select. I'm shopping for Kyler Murray's, and every time I put up Kyler Murray's graded or raw, I find a ton of silvers, but I hardly ever find any base. And then when you look at the pop reports, the PSA, or even the submissions period on the base are probably about 25 to 30% of the. Let's just say they're half. 50%. Just say the submissions are half of what there are on silvers being submitted. That's showing me that there's more silvers being submitted. Yeah, it's a better card, but people are still going to submit the base because it's Kyler Murray, and base field levels hold a lot of value. So when you look at pop reports and you look at eBay listings, you could derive from that there is a possibility that there is more silvers printed than base. And I'm not the first person to actually think this, but it's not a definite. It's not like I'm saying, hey, stay away from the silver, buy the base, it's sneaky. And I even said, even if there is less base made, the silver will still be more valuable because the market dictates the price of the cards, and the market wants silver, and the market wants shine. So regardless of which one has the highest pop report or the most eBay sales, the silver is still going to hold the most value because it's never going to get in the pop report so high that people are like, oh, I don't want the silver. It's overpopulated. So, yeah. So that's exactly what I'm smoking. Facts. Cheese ball music cards from Impel. You can wait for pop reports if you want to miss out. Field level and silver are already both SP regardless. Don't overthink it. Yep. That's why I look for both of them. I buy the silver. I'll buy the base depending on the price. Right now, the base is significantly lower than the silver. So, if it's a player that I like Kyler Murray, that's probably the only thing on my eBay watch list right now is probably 6 or 7 different Kyler Murray select field levels. Yeah, this question is pretty popular. The Dallas show was hot for Kobe, Jordan, and LeBron. Any thoughts on White might be hot this weekend? Oh man, and it's going to depend on the play-in games. I'm going to say Steph is going to be pretty hot, and Anthony Davis, even though one of them is going to be going home, more than likely. Steph and Anthony Davis, I think, will be kind of hot. I think Patrick Mahomes will be hot. Now, Patrick Mahomes isn't cheap, so it's not like saying, oh, Patrick Mahomes is going to get a big price bump, but I think Patrick Mahomes will get his cards are going to be moving quite a bit in Dallas because I think people are going to try to lock in some football, especially their Mahomes stuff. Other than that, I really don't know. And this is my first card show I've been into over a year, so I don't have the feel for what's going on out in in public at the card shows and things. $2020 Select is tanking hard. It's got to affect the old stuff. I'm not sure if it'll affect the old stuff that much because people that are smart to the hobby understand that the old stuff is hobby only. And, this is a retail product stuff. That's why it's tanking really hard. Selects never really caught Prism in the football market anyway, not the way that it did. Premier levels surpassed Prism base in basketball. As far as Luka went, it did. It still is. And, Luka controls the market for modern. So, but in football, it never happened because Prism football pop reports never really got out of control. When you look at the pop report on a PSA 10 Prism of Kyler Murray, it's only around 2,000, which isn't a whole lot. It sounds like a big number, but it's not a lot when you're talking about 17,000 for a Luka. So you're talking about 17,000 for a Luka. Now people are going to start to look at, okay, what is a more rare, better card? Select premier level. But at 2,000, people are still going to look at the Prism in football and say, this card is still rare enough to lead the charge for the product war or the brand war, not brand war, but the releases. It's what Pop Report is what scared people off of base Prism in basketball, but Pop Report hasn't been high enough to scare people off of base Prism in football. Basically is what I'm trying to say. Any thoughts on buying and holding Unopened as an investment to sell in the future at higher prices? What 2021 would be a good hold for the future? I always say this, sealed wax is only as good as the class that's in it. It's only as good as the rookie class that's in it. If you buy sealed wax and then that rookie class doesn't have anybody or maybe only 1 or 2 players that ever amount to anything, then you're not going to have enough players to carry that product to where people are going to fork out big money to bust cards for it or bust packs for it to chase it. This year's there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out, first round draft pick quarterbacks. So it's going to be a very desirable product. It's going to be highly priced right out the gate by Panini because of that. And, so for football, it's going to be expensive. And if you hold it, you're going to hope that, 3 or 4 of these quarterbacks actually become big time superstars and, future type, and then you got to hold it for a long time when you're talking about future Hall of Famers. But, guys that can get into the playoffs, make Super Bowl pushes at least, good showings in the playoffs, and put up good numbers in order for that product to hold value. 2018, Prism Football did that fairly well, especially with the emergence of Josh Allen last year, and Baker playing well, and Lamar Jackson, having a good season under his belt. Sam Darnold's now been traded. So it's all going to hinge around the rookie class, because people are buying the packs for the potential of what they can get inside of those packs. And if what's inside of those packs is not desirable, people are not going to want to buy it. E-Man says PSA 10 M&M sold for close to $350 a year ago. Yeah, well, who makes an M&M card? It's probably not like that. A year ago, the market on stuff like that was super low. It's probably not like that now. Like this is, you guys have seen this a bazillion times. Even in my last video, the Rolling Stone sticker, 1968 and PSA 9. The market on this now is somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000. If you judge it by, there's really no market because this is a pop 3, so they don't sell. But if you look at other bands like The Who and things like that are maybe not even quite as popular as the Rolling Stones when it comes to pop culture, they sell for like $2,000 for other bands that are like lesser than the Rolling Stones. Now, I prefer The Who when it comes to music, but when you're talking about pop culture, the Rolling Stones are more popular. I bought this in October for $75 off eBay. $75. So it's like, the market on cards like this, rock and roll and celebrities and stuff, has seen a big change. So if you're talking about an M&M selling for $350 a year ago, probably got a pretty good market on that card now, unless it's something that there's a lot of them. Like I said, again, this sticker is 3, it's pop 3. So a crazy Rolling Stones fan that has to have that is going to be willing to pay big money for it. I don't know if I hit it. Let's see. So when should you buy 2021 rookies? Give me a sport. Are you going to guess? Are you going to say basketball? Because we have the rookie class of NFL out now. There's not really much product out on them yet. Are you asking when should you buy the NFL rookies or when basketball? The best time to buy a lot of your basketball investments is going to be, especially if teams are eliminated, if you like guys on teams that are out of it, is now. Don't even wait for the championship to be played. As soon as the season ends, the incline starts, the rise starts. Now, it starts slowly, and it gradually picks up steam as the preseason approaches. But if you wait for whoever it is to win the championship and the NBA is over and they're celebrating and they're having their parade, a day to 2 days after that, the NBA market will start to rise a little bit already with build-up for next season. The best time to buy your NBA stuff is as soon as these playoff games are being played and people are being eliminated. Now, I know it puts you into a longer-term hold because now you got this money tied up in this card for the next 6 months or so. But if you wait 3 months to give yourself less time to have your money tied up, then your buy-in price is going to be a little bit higher. Guys, I'm missing a lot of your comments. If I miss your comments, you can put it up again. Don't worry about it. Hopefully I eventually see it. Do I think the Nets are a lock to win it? No, I don't. I wouldn't put a lock on any team to win it. I wouldn't. I think the NBA is a little more competitive, a little more up in the air this year than it was last year. The East is a lot stronger and the West is a lot stronger. I mean, look, the Lakers aren't a play-in. Now, I know that their star players have been hurt, but look at the Jazz and win a lot of games. The Nuggets win a lot of games playing good, even without Jamal Murray. The Suns went from not making the playoffs last year to being number 2 in the West. I mean, these young teams are up and coming with good players. It's more competitive in both the East and the West this year. The Mavericks made a good charge. I still think the Mavericks are a piece away, but I agree. Drew, I hardcore agree with you here. Football / soccer and American football. That's definitely my two biggest targets right now. Might be 2 or 3 under the radar basketball players, not under the radar, but basketball players that I think I'm going to be able to find value on. But I definitely think soccer and football is what I'm looking into the most for myself too. Am I avoiding your Lando question this week? Was it the one about did I read it? I read something about Lando and like Johnny Manziel and something. Slab it up. Thanks for stopping by, man. Calling Denver. I like Denver. I think Denver's strong too. I think they might even win I think Denver's got a really good chance to win the West. I think that's who I picked earlier. Got a sleeper for the NBA playoffs, playing games in first round. Players are a team. My sleeper team is the Heat. So pick your poison on the Heat. Because they were a sleeper team last year, and I still like them. And, I mean, I like the Nuggets. There's not many sleeper players on there because Jokic is, playing like a wild man. And Michael Porter Jr., everybody was waiting for this. Everybody was waiting for him to play good. He's a hobby favorite. Look for, let's see. There's not really any under the radar players on the Jazz. Maybe you could find one on the Suns, somebody to just take a flyer on. I don't know what Chris Paul prices look like if he actually wins a title. Football only QBs. It's not worth it to invest in running backs or wide receivers at all. And that's completely opinionated. It's more of a gamble to invest in the others. QBs are your safest bet, but they're also going to cost you the most money. They're going to be your highest price point, so they're also going to be your biggest gamble as far as entry level. If you can't afford quarterbacks and you can only afford running backs and wide receivers, there is money to be made. I made good money off Christian McCaffrey cards last year. I sold prior injury. That's what you want to do. You don't want to let the season start and risk somebody getting hurt, like a Saquon Barkley or something. But if you bought Saquon Barkley last April and you sold him in August, then you made a lot of money. You did the same thing with Christian McCaffrey. You did the same thing with Michael Thomas. If you held him into the season, then you lost. So it's not necessarily what you buy. It's when you buy it and when you sell it. What do you say, Tony? He already is a nobody, just can't get Steve to admit it. What are we talking about? Are we still talking about Lando? Is now the perfect time to buy Zion? I believe it's a decent time to buy Zion. I'm looking to buy a couple Zion cards, but that's because I believe in Zion. If you don't believe in Zion, always believe in the player that you're going to buy. And I guess since you're asking, and then again, what is your long-term play for Zion? And people talk about with his body type and things like that, he's not a good investment long-term. It depends on your definition of long-term. He may not be able to have 10 years in the league. Might be too much wear and tear on a guy of his size. But you only need 3 to 4 years, and nobody even knows what the market as a whole will be by then. But, for me, I'm buying Zion because I think I can make money off of him, in a 1 year to 3 year window. I'm not buying him because I think he's the next LeBron and I can sell his cards 15 years from now and make tons of money. So, it all depends on your approach on when you want to buy. His cards, I think, will still get a little bit lower. But it's not a super bad time to buy Zion. I do think there's still a little bit of a decline on his cards, though. Oh, yeah, I got you. For long term. Yeah, it's hard to gamble on position players long term. I mean, some of them, your all-time greats, but I guess their cards probably went up after they became all-time greats. Sell or hold Trae Young. What are you in at? When did you buy? If you bought in the preseason hype when his prisms like reach $800, I mean, you're probably upside down / backwards on your Trae Youngs. And I don't think that they will hit those prices again anytime in the near future. If you got in on Trae Young for, during the dip for like $150 for maybe an optic, and maybe it shot up to 250 or 300 when the Hawks started playing well and put themselves in the playoffs, then probably sell. Take that profit. Don't look back. Take that profit, put a little bit of it away, and then roll it into something else. And then you will never lose like that. Like Triggerfinger says, hold Trae Young. He's still so young. Well, his last name is Young. Of course he's young. But anyway, the play is you can rebuy the same card that you sell. Don't be like, hey, I bought this. I bought an optic Trae Young when it was $100. I sold it when it was $200. And then it goes back down to $150. If you believe in the potential of Trae Young a little bit longer, then just rebuy back in at $150. You still made yourself a profit, and you got the card back at a later date. You got to play the waves and the windows and go through the window and get back out and things like that in the market as peaks and valleys happen. Try to buy during the valleys and sell during the peaks. Get in and out, and then lock yourself into a card. And then you're locked in pretty much at no risk because you've already profited off of it a couple times. Oh, we got here. Card market is just like the stock market. Zizzy Tune, actually a full year is a cheat code. I'm not sure what that. Tal says buy Trae is one of the most explosive scoring players in the league. Team around him is much better. His prices are down. It could have a big series. Hawks are a sleeper. They're a sleeper, but I don't think that if Trae wins a round in the playoffs, I think it'll do good for his cards. So yes, but if you buy right now and they get eliminated in the first round, then you're probably going to take a loss. Like when he asked this question about should he buy or should he sell or hold Trae, I started with it depends on what you're in at. So if you're in cheap and you can make money on him right now based on the fact, what's baked into his cards right now is the fact that the Hawks caught fire because Trae Young was tanking. We all saw it. But then the Hawks got on fire. They played their way into the playoffs. He played good, but he's not playing as good as he played last year. The team around him is just better. Like Bogdanovich or whoever the other dude is, he's playing crazy. They got DeAndre Hunter back, who's a player that I like. John Collins finally got hot. He got going late. And when all those guys started playing is when the Hawks got better. And Trae Young has actually struggled this year from a shooting percentage and from scoring. His scoring is down and his percentage is way down. He has some really bad nights. That is the case with a young shooter. That's just going to be the way that it works for a young player that's a shooter. But make no mistake about the Hawks' success right now is not, Trae Young carrying that team. He's just playing well. That team is just a good team as a whole. So, when it comes to Trae, again, it all depends on what you got in at. I still think for myself, I have a couple Trae Youngs. I bought a couple decent. I thought that was a Trae Young. It was a Michael Porter Jr. I bought a couple decent selects of him, like a tricolor select premier level. So, I'm hoping that Trae Young has a great playoffs. I'm not here like trying to crap on Trae Young. I'm just trying to, be a little bit realistic and know that there is a chance there to take a loss, especially if you got in at a bad time. Let's do this. What is my best and worst investments I made in the last year? My worst investment was buying Buying Anthony Davis 2012 Prism PSA 10s when they were $2,500. That's my worst. And then my best is when I took a loss on a Kawhi. I showed that in a recent sales video. I think I took like a $300 loss on a Kawhi Prism. Also, my best isn't going to be a sports card. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like I showed that Rolling Stones earlier. If I sell this off, which I might do, I mean, I've had offers on this Rolling Stone sticker. This was $75 purchase, and I have the potential to sell this for around $2,000. I mean, and I bought it graded. It's not like I bought it raw and flipping it graded. I bought graded, and I can flip graded for that big of a profit. I mean, that's a huge boost. Now, a lot of my other big gainers were raw cards that I bought, got graded, raw to graded flips. That's always where your biggest profit margins are going to be if you're buying nice graded cards and getting good grades. But it's hard to do right now because the grading companies are all, all have their defaults. If I liquidated all my sports cards right now, would I have over 100K? That's a tough question because I don't know the market on everything that I own. Probably. I probably would because I have a Jordan rookie. I have a Larry Bird and a Magic Johnson rookie. So there's some big cards in there that are just going to be chunks. I have a Kobe Topps rookie that I have here. I mean, it's a SGC, but it's a 10. Like I said, this AD here is probably like 16, 18, maybe 2,000. I don't know. It's less than what I bought it for. This Zion here, that's 1,500. I mean, the soccer cards that I have in here are crazy and don't have markets on them because they're so rare. The Harry Kane Silver Prism sells for 2,000 on a bad day. Trying to find some heavy hitters. I got an RPA Alexander Ovechkin at a 9.5. I have no idea what the market on that is because there's zero sales. These two 2006 World Cup stickers of Messi and Ronaldo, that's at least $1,000 a piece on a bad day. So I always round down on the value of my cards to give myself a safe estimate. But I'm sure I probably do. My bank account and my hobby account are completely different. So I have a bank account that I strictly use for comic books and cards, and then I have a bank account that my paycheck and all goes into for paying my bills and family stuff and everyday life. So I keep it separated. So I never really have to worry about what I have in cards. My Carson Wentz second years. I don't have any. I have one Carson Wentz card, and I didn't even pack it to take it to Dallas because I was like, nobody in Dallas is going to buy Carson Wentz. Because I had to consolidate. I filled this thing up with cards, and then I found another box of cards to put in here, and I was like, man, I'm out of room. So I had to start taking stuff out. Let's try this again. Do I buy from Pete Rose's Best Bet Auto? Oh, okay, so okay. I was confused earlier because you said Best Bet Auto, and I was thinking that it was an autograph card of Pete Rose, like it was an actual insert or something. Pete Rose's Best Bet Autograph. Okay, Best Bet Auto, Lando's Lemons, or Johnny Manziel's Motors, and why? So, I'm going to buy from Lando's Lemons, and the reason why is because the Millennium Falcon was owned by Lando before he lost it to Han, and everybody in the movie made fun of the Millennium Falcon, talking about how it was a junky old ship and it was old and it sucked and everything. But in the end, that's the best ship in the whole series saga. The Millennium Falcon. Fresh from Bespin, from Lando's Lemons. So there we go. Oh yeah, the Tony Hawk. The Tony Hawk's not going to Dallas with me. That's not even downstairs. Like I got 3 slab boxes here. This case that I'm packing up for Dallas. And no, my Tony Hawk is upstairs in my other box. That Tony Hawk's not going anywhere. That's mine. Oh, there you go. So my answer was satisfactory. Most memorable deal I ever made. Man, this is okay. So I can go 2 different routes with this. I can go money route, or I can go money route, or I can go nostalgia / sentimental route. If I go sentimental route, way back in 1990, 91, can't quite remember. I think it was back then. Delino DeShields. I don't know if anybody remembers Delino DeShields. He was a baseball player for the Expos. He played for the Orioles. But when he was with the Expos and when he was a rookie, he was from like 20 minutes away from where I live. He went to the high school around here. He was like everybody. He was the only person from Delaware to ever amount to anything as far as sports go. And he was super famous, and he was going into the major leagues and running up for Rookie of the Year. And he would always come back to the high school and do a charity basketball game and bring a bunch of baseball players and stuff with him. And as a kid, I wanted his cards. That's who I liked. He was a local, and he was being successful in baseball. And at my LCS, which no longer exists, I mean, this is so long ago, there was a set of his minor league cards, and they were actually made by Kool-Aid, I believe. Red Kool-Aid. It was a red board. I think they're made by Kool-Aid. But anyway, it was $10 for the team set. And back then, $10, that's a lot of money, man. That's like my allowance times 2. You know what I mean? So I did work and cut grass, and I earned $10, and I went and I bought that set from the card shop. And I'll never forget buying that set from the card shop just because I wanted the Liner DeShields that was in it. And even like Marquise Grissom was in it. Just some young players from that Expo team. It was like a minor league set. So guys from that minor league, and it wasn't like a regular card you could find everywhere. And I remember buying that. So that's a big time memory I have of buying something that I really wanted and working to get it and being super happy when I got it. So yeah. And, recent deal, just buying some stuff that I bought early that turned into money. A lot of the money stuff doesn't rank up there regardless of how much I made or I lost, because the money stuff isn't as memorable as the stories. You know, the money comes, it goes into the bank account. I might spend some of it back out. I might save it up. But if you're talking biggest, let's see. My biggest purchase in person of a card was probably I bought for only $1,000 that I bought last year. It was a LeBron. I showed it on my last live stream. I think it was a card that I regret selling too early. However, at the time, it bankrolled me. And so I look at it from that aspect. It was a LeBron Topps Pristine Refractor BGS 10 2003 rookie. It's like a $30,000 card now. I think the last one might have sold on eBay for 29 and change. And I bought it this time last year. I actually bought it on February 20, the last night of February. So whether it was leap year or not, I don't remember, because the very next day I was with March 1st, and I was in Philadelphia for a card show. So I bought that card the night before that card. I went to that card show for $1,000. A year and a couple months later, it's $29K. I sold it. I did well on it, not as well as I could have done on it, but I also look at what I was able to use a lot of that money for. I was able to bankroll it into a lot of other cards that I wouldn't necessarily have gotten. So even though I could sell that one card now for a ton of money, I wouldn't have had the cards that I was able to bankroll with that card at the time. And the whole market was cheaper then. So even the stuff that I bought with the money that I sold for that LeBron, or I got from selling that LeBron, I was able to buy in cheap, like Patrick Mahomes stuff. I was able to buy it dirt cheap, and it was like $200. $200 for a PSA 10 optic. $400 for a PSA 10 Prism. Ron Gant, David Justice. Bama. This is his best deals when he went to his LCS the day after his dad died in the 80s, and the owner gave him a picture of Dwight Gooden and said, walk into the Blockbuster Video next door, and Dwight Gooden was there. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. And he signed it. That's sweet. I'll tell you a really quick autograph story, and it's not even anything fancy like I saw somebody in public or anything. It was actually at a game. It was at a Phillies game. They were still in the vet, I believe. Lincoln Financial wasn't built yet. And Ricky Henderson was coming to the end of his career in baseball, or at least Major League Baseball. He went on to play in some minor leagues and stuff, but he was playing for the Mets, and the Mets were in town to play the Phillies. And Ricky Henderson was out taking, they were taking batting practice, and he was out in left field just kind of hanging out. And he came over, and he started signing autographs, and he signed for absolutely everybody. And I always thought that Ricky Henderson was like a cocky, conceited player and things like that, because he played with arrogance because he was so good. He played with arrogance, but the way that he played didn't reflect his personality, because he came over there, was so nice, and talked to everybody and signed Phillies fans. He was signing their jerseys. I mean, he was at a away stadium in Phillies hostel. He was signing their gloves, balls, jerseys, everybody. He signed until they made him leave, because the game was about to start. They were about to throw out the first pitch, and he had to take the field. And they made him he stood there and signed every single autograph that he could sign until they pulled him away. And he wasn't even at his home stadium. And this was a guy that already held the record for stolen bases, best leadoff hitter of all time. He had already accomplished all of his accolades. He wasn't like he was a young player trying to make fans. That was a cool autograph story that I have, because it was super unexpected. Triggerfinger loved the vet. Yeah, the vet is where I saw Pink Floyd live, guys. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, and I got the sticker. I saw Pink Floyd live the night before my high school graduation, and then I had to bust tail back home to get across the stage the next day and get my diploma. But yeah, outdoor at the vet was that concert. All right, guys, we're at 2 minutes. 2 hours, 2 minutes and 8 minutes. I got to leave town in the morning for the night, only to come back Wednesday to wrap up some loose ends before flying back out of town to Dallas on Thursday. So I got to get up early. We got a couple more minutes for some questions. Maybe I'll go to 2 more minutes, 2 hours and 10 minutes, a couple more minutes. If you guys got anything you would like to ask, again, always thanks for checking out the live stream. I don't know what kind of content I'll get out this week. I don't know if I'll have time to get my normal video out. I know I only do 1 or 2 videos a week. I don't know if I'll have time to get it out because I'm leaving Thursday. I don't know if I'll have anything from Dallas because I'm not really taking any gear. So if Dustin or any of the guys are filming anything, you might see me in the background or something like that, but we'll see. Maybe I'll film a couple of small things just to put into a video, but I'm not a professional vlogger, or I don't have any fancy gear or anybody to follow me around like a celebrity with a camera. So, just going to go out there and see what I can get into, have fun, mainly going for the experience. And hopefully I see some of you guys out there. Maybe I can't, maybe I will, maybe I won't. There is another card show on June 11th to the 13th. I think it's scheduled for Philly at the Valley Forge Convention Center, which was the last show I've been to last year in March. I will be going to that also. So I plan on attending Dallas the Sunday. So I'll be at probably the last day of the Philly show. looking around, trying to scoop up some last minute deals when people are desperate to sell. And then I don't know about the National yet. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Anyway, guys, again, thanks for checking it out. Tony's talking about Lenny Dykstra. Yeah. But thanks for coming out to the live stream, guys. I got to get to bed. Got a lot of stuff to do, man. I wish I could talk all night. This is fun, but unfortunately got to go, guys. Hopefully get a video. I'll get something out to you guys. We'll see. Till next time, guys, good luck in your investing. See you later.